Man, that's an everything bagel. What did we just watch?
Mickey 17.
Mickey 17. Any pressing thoughts?
Where can I get a clone of you?
That's crazy.
For no particular reason and for
nothing to
that
do
was...
with all the steamy scenes in the movie.
No.
One steamy scene in the movie.
Yeah, nothing that was demonstrated in the film was the reason in particular why I would want a clone of you or anything.
Anyway, what did you really think of the movie?
I liked it. I think that I'm going to steal your point about the pacing.
About the what?
About the pacing.
You're going to steal my point?
Yeah.
That's crazy. Okay. Before we even get to that, welcome to the Everything Bagel Cupholder Critique episode of Mickey 17.
Yes, this follows the original format of our podcast.
We are here in the car.
Yes.
With nice lighting.
We made it match the, the
little upgrade.
Yeah, and, we're bringing this piece of the podcast back because it's the core of what our episodes were like. And if you ever have ever heard our old episodes, then this is what you can imagine. Minus the lights. We were just sitting in the dark after a movie
in the parking lot.
Now
we're at home in our own carport.
Yes.
With our own lights.
With our dog in the back.
Exactly.
And maybe one day we'll have guests and stuff. Yeah. People we just went and saw the movie.
Instead of Leo in the back, it could be you back there.
Submit your request to be on an episode.
Yeah, check out the email, link in bio, all that, link tree, all that.
Exactly. But we thought it was super important to lean into what we already knew. It was something we've been wanting to do, and then I think we were a little overwhelmed by the concept. At least I was, of how we were gonna do it practically, because I think we wanted to keep that feeling alive of getting right out of the movies and that conversation you always have with your friends of you just let it all out because you couldn't talk during the movie, or you shouldn't talk during the movie unless you're those girls from Germany who I was watching Wicked with. Oh, you bitches!
And it was not the sing along. It was not the sing along. Anyway, that's we got to review Wicked. That's another episode.
It gives me hives thinking about people's inconsideration. Anyway, and let me just rant for a second. These girls, it was fine. They were singing, and they weren't bad at it. But it was my first time watching the movie, but I had just seen it on Broadway in London.
Flex.
And I wanted to enjoy it, and I knew the songs, but I wasn't gonna sing. And these girls sitting next to me. It wasn't that they were singing, and it wasn't that it was bad. It was that they were starting the songs 5 seconds before the actors would. So it was off sync the entire time that they sang it because they knew what the next words were gonna be, and that should piss me off. At least sync up, dude.
Yeah, that's the whole point of it. That's like karaoke. It's sync up or lip sync. Are you gonna sing ahead?
Something. Anyway, I appreciate that American in the crowd.
There was an American in front of us, and he leaned over to the people that were singing in his row, and he was like, "Will you please be quiet?" And the fucking Americanness in my veins, bro.
USA.
We felt it, bro. We felt it. And I was
it powered me up. Yeah. So then I turned over to the girls and I said, "Can you please stop?" Much more meanly than that.
Yeah, it was nice, but it was too late. It was right at Defying Gravity too, so you definitely cut their moment.
And also, I left it open to interpretation.
Can you please stop?
Can you please stop singing? Can you please stop breathing? I don't know which one.
Well, they didn't either, but
yeah, they really didn't. And I said it in the third act, so it was kind of
it was dude, the movie's 3 hours, and we said it at 2 hours and 50 minutes in. That's on us.
Yeah, but
anyway.
We're
in a new country, what are we going to do? I'm not going to be that guy that's But anyway. All right, we're here today talking about Mickey 17, bro.
Yeah, okay, fine.
Mickey 17, bro.
But I feel like that was worth calling out.
It was worth calling out.
Now we pay a hefty price to have a membership to the Alamo Draft
Alamo
House.
Flex, bro.
Mm-hmm. Woo, woo. And they're great because
you get warning,
you get kicked out, bro. And I haven't really had any issues. There's one guy who would laugh at everything, but is that really?
But it wasn't a comedy. It wasn't a comedy.
Yeah.
That's the thing.
Oh, wait, what movie were we watching?
It was that stupid Andrew Garfield movie.
Yeah, In Time or something.
Yeah, something about time.
No.
We live in time.
We live in time.
All these stupid time romance movies, bro. That's a whole other story. We gotta dive deeper
Anyway,
into it. We should do an episode on just bad theater experiences we've had. No, today we're here. Mickey 17.
Mickey 17.
We have lots of thoughts.
You
said
starters,
you wanted to steal my point.
But as a side note, why is Robert Pattinson like hot?
He's always been hot, I thought.
Have you been like on the Robert Pattinson train since Twilight, or like?
No, I've been on him since his indie revival. So I missed that. I missed that initial one.
Because I was not. No. I was Jacob
I was
Gurley.
the 2014, 2015 era Pattinson boy, where I was like, he's coming out with like it was still in that era of like, oh, the dude from Twilight's in this. But I would watch the movies. I'll be like, wait, like he's acting really good. So I've been on the train for a minute, not as long as like some other diehards, but
not to rope him in with his ex, but did you have that same journey with Kristen Stewart?
Yeah, for sure. I still defend her. A lot of people I know are still like, she can't act. But I'm like, oh, what have you seen besides Twilight? Like, you know what I mean?
What are your like? What's your top like quote like? But this movie is like it proves it all wrong for her.
For Kristen Stewart.
Yeah.
Ooh, her best one?
Because I'm curious. I haven't seen Diane, but I'm curious.
Spencer. I haven't seen that one either. Man, that's tough. I mean, I go for the nostalgic. I say, watch Zathura. I love Zathura.
I don't know what that is.
Oh my god, kid classic. If you know Zathura, bro, I can't even say it. Just shout it out in the comments, bro. Like, we're gonna do a Zathura rewatch, bro.
The comments there's gonna be no comments.
It's gonna be me on my burner.
Gorilla 59.
Yeah, for real. If you see that comment, please like it.
Anyways, okay. Enough about Kristen Stewart. Robert Pattinson. Which one was the movie that you were like, oh, this guy's...
He's been on my radar for a minute, but the one that like sold me, where I'm like, I'm watching this guy's every single move, was obviously Good Times, directed by the Safdie brothers, who did Uncut Gems. Just complete tour de force performance where he kind of broke his like pretty boy mold, or like, you know, like his mold there. Obviously he was in stuff before that that was really good, but I feel like with this one I hadn't seen him be such like a seedy character, and it really showed a lot of range for him, and I feel like he brought some of that with him into this role. And I really liked how if you go to the Alamo Draft House, they do like a pre-roll before the movie. It's very curated. So this one we got to see like some works from like the director Bong Joon-ho.
Someone's getting fired though. Did you notice those parentheses? Some of them were off. When they were quoting like the movie and they put the year in the parentheses, there was a parenthesis going this way instead of this way.
Editing team, get on that. Hire me. No, but they did one on like Robert Pattinson's like the weird voices he does, right?
Yeah, I didn't know.
I think it just went to show like, wow, this guy has like lots of range, and like you can kind of see inklings of that. Yeah. Those performances in this performance.
Did you know he makes music?
No, I did not. He's married to Suki Waterhouse, right?
Yeah, there's a song that kind of goes viral every now and then.
It's him?
That I think was also in one of the Twilight movies. Don't quote me wrong.
Okay.
But yeah, it's him, and it's like this really like raspy like.
Dude, there's things he could do with his voice. He's one of my favorite actors that are like has the good looks, but is like stuck in the. Or they say it's like a character actor stuck in like a A-lister body. Yeah.
I wouldn't say he's good looking.
I think better than a lot of other unconventionally attractive actors.
Like who?
Benedict Cumberbatch.
Bro, no one thinks that guy's hot.
Bro, where were you? Tumblr, Sherlock era?
Okay, I think that was more the hair thing and like the costuming thing than it was.
Some people thirst over Doctor Strange, bro. Like, it's not a lot, but they're out there.
Okay, that's more the goatee than it is like who it's on. Wow.
Well, he's a great actor, and our another one was like early. Actually, I'm not even. Let's skip this part. I was gonna say Brad Pitt back in the day, because he had the looks, but if you actually watched his movies, he was a really good actor and played a lot of. What have you seen that I'm talking about?
Wait, are you talking about his attractiveness or his level as an actor?
Both. So
You're saying he was an unconventionally attractive actor?
No, now I switched now. So I'm saying he has the looks to be an A-lister, but deep down he's born to play these weirdo characters.
Oh, okay.
That's what I'm saying about
probably
Robert Pattinson.
because he's a weirdo in real life.
Yeah. I mean, that's a whole other thing.
In this house, we hate Brad Pitt.
Yeah, we do, unfortunately. Like, fortunately, but unfortunately. Because, fuck you, man. Fuck you. How could you do that to me?
Gotta keep it together.
Damn it, bro. I wanted to see F1 so bad.
Anyways, Robert Pattinson, I never, got, the attractive thing until I saw him go down on her in this movie.
That's interesting. You're like a visual learner, I guess, or something like that. I don't know. Like, I feel like he's been in, he's done stuff before, I feel like.
I don't follow him like that. I think Tenet was when I was
yeah, he was in Tenet.
Yeah.
One of my favorite movies, bro. What the hell?
In Tenet, he had a good haircut, so that helped.
He got that good charm
Let me
going.
explain to you girl brain, right?
Okay, yeah.
In terms of, finding men attractive.
Right.
So, a haircut or losing facial hair.
I know that's make or break. I know that's, make or break.
Yeah, the haircut, if you're gonna get a haircut, has to be in... What's the word? In a unnoticeable.
Okay.
Yeah, you can't tell where the scissors went.
Okay, so natural.
Natural.
Okay, so not a fresh from the barber, a little lived in.
Yes.
Okay.
The best is
well, some people
4 weeks post haircut.
I thought some girls like when their dude comes back shaved and stuff like that, or
not a single.
Okay.
Girl.
No, I'm not saying from. I meant when they get fresh fade or something.
No.
If they keep their hair short already, they get a fresh fade.
That's one of those things that guys do for each other, but girls actually hate.
All right, fair enough.
So,
okay. What about him and Batman?
I was more into what's her face.
Zoe Kravitz.
Yeah.
A lot of people were.
A lot of people were you're not gonna rope yourself into that.
Porque no los dos.
Bro, his chair might as well have been vibrating the entire time.
At the same time.
Anyways, so haircuts, losing facial hair or gaining facial hair sometimes, especially if you grow it patchy.
Actually, it's just
when Ethan tries to grow a mustache.
I can't.
Every 4 weeks when I forget to pluck it, I think those are
yeah. So this character Mickey in this movie did it for you.
I would say what he was doing did it for me.
I think by that logic, you could watch any sexy movie or a scene of an actor and you'll like them.
Have you met me? I can pretty much fall in love with anyone.
That's true. I feel like that's a little, I don't know, what is that?
I can pretty much fall in love with any rom-com. It's really hard for me not to like something about a rom-com movie.
Yeah.
Which we can get into later because
we should do
apparently, rom-com movies are kind of made to put women in their place and want you to crave centering men, but that's another story for another time.
All right, fair enough.
Anyway, I liked him in this. I think he had a good haircut. His abs were on point.
Mm-hmm.
And
still got those Batman abs.
I liked the combo of 17 and 18 where one of them was a bottom and one of them was a top.
Yeah.
Both literally
inside you there are two wolves, you know what I mean?
Which, okay, I want to get into it because the movie didn't answer this, or if it did, I completely missed it. But why were they different? They were literally a week apart from mentally.
I think every time he got rebooted, he said he was a little different each time. It came from the same core memories, but each one maybe had a little bit more pronounced personality traits. It was a very passing comment. So he commented he was Mickey 5 was a little more emotional, and Mickey 7 was a little bitch and stuff like that. So it was a very passing comment. So that's how I took it.
I figured some of it had to do with the human error that kept happening of them forgetting to grab him when he got printed, or there was no table for him, or I think the cords would get yanked out.
It's both Mickeys are the same Mickey. But just different. I thought it was a physical representation of having a good angel and bad angel on your shoulder.
Oh, I saw it more as one was jaded from being a tool and one wasn't, and this the one that had one more cycle to go through kind of finally broke in the sense of I don't
No,
want to do this
I agree with that
anymore.
too, but I think it was also like a physical of like he's living those both out at the same time. So
Yeah.
what you're saying. I completely agree.
And also, like, maybe that 17, who's like the more...
He's the more naive one.
Naive one is like... He seemed to draw out a lot of his, like, inner child stuff. And
Right.
then also his way of, like, kind of coping with the environment that he's in was to, like, appease.
Yeah, fall in line.
Than, yeah, fall in line.
And while the other Mickey 17 was more frustrated at the system.
Mm-hmm.
And
So I think they were both, like, in
I
tandem
it's
representing...
that internal struggle
Yeah.
between Mickey Barnes himself
And society.
and society. Don't forget society.
Society is at the core of
We
every
live in
movie.
one, guys. We live in one.
Okay, we're not talking about the Joker here.
That's an old joke, man. I haven't brought that out in a minute. All right, okay. So I took a little bit of notes after the movie. I never bring your
And
phone up
I
during the
stole
movie.
one of his notes.
You stole one of my... Okay, why don't you bring it up?
Okay, so Ethan was going to say, because I like to give credit to my sources,
Thank you.
that he felt like the pacing was whiplashy.
Yeah, the pacing and tonal shifts I felt like were a bit all over the place. So Mickey 17 is like a 2-hour movie, right? 2 hours and some change. But it felt a lot longer, I felt like.
I can agree with that.
And, you know, there's a lot to cram in there, but there's just a lot. There's a lot in there. And you're going to, lose some of that with the pacing. Like, if the end felt like it was ending, like, 3 different times. And as much as I enjoyed some of the tonal whiplashes, like, it was kind of hard to go from, like, okay, action scene to comedy.
Too sexy,
And then satire, and then back to drama. Like, it was a little all over the place, so I didn't know how to feel as, like, an audience member. And, like, I think our audience was a little confused, too. I didn't hear a lot of, like, laughing necessarily at what I thought were, like, funny parts and things like that. Like, there were some scenes where, like...
Ethan definitely was that one guy.
I like to laugh at movies, bro. But there were scenes where, like, Robert Pattinson was doing full-on, like, slapstick comedy. And it did feel a little weird because of just what was happening, like, within the scene. So I was like, okay, this feels a little out of place that he's doing something so exaggerated. I don't know if that maybe goes back to Robert Pattinson's performance. I thought he did really good. And I can tell what kind of movie he was in. But it also felt like Mickey was in one movie and then, like, the world around Mickey was, like, another movie. And they were both coexisting at the same time.
And you don't think that was on purpose? You think that was, like, a fault?
I think... it was on purpose because obviously Mickey's character arc is his most important, like, aspect of him. So it makes sense he's living out his own world. But I don't think it should come at the cost of, like, weird juxtapositions of within the scenes itself.
Yeah, like, I felt like sometimes they leaned on his stupidity so much, or, like, perceived stupidity, that, like, it made the gravity of what was happening, like, less.
Yeah,
and I honestly wouldn't be able to tell you, like, is this movie more funny or is it more...
Yeah, like, obviously
intense?
it's a satire on everything going on, like, in the world.
Yeah.
You know, it's tackling a lot of issues in the world, which I applaud for trying to take it all in one shot.
And that it predicted / maybe didn't predict, and so that, you know, I think a lot of my grievances with the movie is that it didn't hit because
I think
we're in the bad timeline.
Yeah, it assumed that we wouldn't be under the current political climate that we're currently in, wrongly, unfortunately. And because of that, a lot of the satire, and especially Mark Ruffalo's character, who is doing a near spot-on interpretation / impression of our current president.
Dude, the scene where he gets shot, and misses ear.
I was like, no way that, like, that must have been filmed way before that happened in real life, because I was like, no way. And if anything, when that happened, I feel like you could hear a pin drop in the theater, because everyone was just like, oh, like, they just did that, and, like, you can tell it wasn't, like... I feel like if they did it after it actually happened, because it happened, like, what, 5, 6, 7 months ago? Like, no way. They finished filming this movie 2 years ago.
Yeah, I was like, was this a pickup? Like, there's no way.
It didn't give it the gravity I think it would have if they had filmed it like afterwards, you know what I mean? Like if The Boys, the show, did it, like that's a show that does like that biting on the nose social commentary and everything, and like you can tell it's very reactionary. But this one was like it didn't have that same kind of feel because it felt like it was trying to predict or make fun of, but it ended up predicting itself. You mentioned in an earlier take it was very Simpsons-esque, and unfortunately, I think it was.
Hey, you stole my point.
There you go. You stole mine earlier. But, I think it ended up hurting the movie a little bit. And maybe it's just because we're a little jaded as audience members.
It's only been 3 months, guys.
Yeah, I think it made me uncomfortable, but not in, like, a good way where it makes...
Yeah, it wasn't satisfying. Yeah. It was actually like a little bit painful, and
like a little like this is like too real, too fresh, and
and like not anything, in a way that other movies have hit. Like when it's on the nose and you are in on it, like even when you're like not on that side, like sometimes it's like still satisfying because you're like, well, you know, they like saw it through all the way, or they like did the thing that we can't do in real life, or like whatever. And it's just like, I don't know, I said, you know, in another take too, that like I liked her whole monologue kind of like telling him off, Mark Ruffalo's character off, and even that like didn't
I actually had an opposite reaction to what you said, because when you were talking about it, you said you felt maybe not vindicated was the word, but you felt like I agree with that, and like I agree with what she was saying too, but it felt like Don't Look Up. Remember that movie on Netflix?
Like when they're screaming into the void about like saving the world,
or like also, I wouldn't want to say performative, but like it felt like. I don't know, like it's too little too late now, like unfortunately, you know what I mean?
And it makes me wonder, like, I don't think like the goals of these directors per se, or even like in the movie making process, is to like convince the audiences of a certain political side or like something in real life that they should then like get behind of or whatever. But like usually I feel like the audience kind of like matches what the movie's gonna like talk about, and I'm not saying that wasn't the case here, but because it was the case, like it just made it feel like, okay, we're done preaching to the choir. What did that ever do for anyone?
Especially since kind of the last act, like crutch, like it crutches on that like monologue, so it just didn't end up hitting, like, especially if that's like kind of the message of the movie. I was like, oh, like
like almost like it was funny, you know, this guy who's like some morph of Elon and Trump, and this whole like space expedition and the ridiculousness of farming people.
And like it was, I could see how it was trying to be really funny, but like the fact that like you know, they always say truth is stranger than fiction, but I'm like, dude, like I can't even like laugh that this is like so outlandish anymore. Like I'm like, bro, this literally happens. Like, and I don't know, they could have maybe taken it a step.
Maybe hanging like a baby off of a hook over lava. I wouldn't think that would be far from reality.
Bro,
anymore.
and like you know, there was the like kind of like talking about of the church, I mean the company, you know, all that stuff.
The logo on the uniform,
it looked like a certain
symbol.
I know, I'm glad you caught that too, because I was like,
oh yeah, I think we both like audibly.
Yeah,
but I think the shooting scene in particular was just like, wow, like this must be on a textbook somewhere, and then somebody pitched that to him and was like, what if we did that, you know?
But yeah, so like those kind of weird tonal shifts definitely didn't help like how I was feeling about the movie. Like I didn't know, like, okay, like if I knew going in it was gonna be like a goofy satire, then I would have maybe like came into it differently. But like I don't know, just kind of threw like a bunch of different tones at you right out the gate, so I was just a little lost. I'm like, okay, I don't know what I'm supposed to be feeling right now. Like, yeah,
Yeah, and because of that, I feel like not that there was any like monumental loss or that even maybe if like we were supposed to feel sad about 18 dying, like it just didn't. I didn't feel that sad. And normally I can cry about just about anything.
Right, right.
Or the baby being recovered and given back to their mother, or even like kind of this idea of like, I talked in the other take about this, but like the whole animal species that's native to the land, that kind of like struck me more than anything, because I think it leans into the themes of like, not having all that much power except like togetherness, and this idea of like disruption, and it was revealed at the end that like they didn't have the power to like kill the humans, even if they wanted to feel vindicated over the baby that was robbed. But it became this like, oh, that's so cool, like we all live in peace now, you know, and it just doesn't hit, because it just is so sad that that's not the reality that we live in.
Right.
Like I feel like a lot of sci-fi movies, at least you can be like, yeah, this is the world as it is now, just in different...
Yeah, I felt a little too optimistic about our current world, which maybe is a good view to have, and maybe this is just again coming from like two jaded like moviegoers here.
Yeah.
But it was a little weird there. I did want to kind of pivot now to a different point I brought up. I wrote down, I felt like some of the characters were underused, some of the side characters. Even though this movie was kind of long, over 2 hours, and it felt long, like, I also feel like a lot of stuff was cut. Like, the character of, I'm forgetting her name, but the girl that liked Mickey 17, I didn't get her. I'm forgetting her name, but I didn't really get her arc in this, or what she was supposed to represent, because she's was so
German, no?
In the maybe
I noticed an accent.
She definitely had an accent,
and they were playing up the whole Nazi joke about her starting the race and being a uterus to like the perfect specimen.
But she was against that, it seemed like.
Yes.
But then at the same time, she wanted to turn on like Mickey 17 and like 18, but then flip-flop back.
17.
Right. So, and then she disappeared for like the back half of the movie.
Yeah.
So if she felt a little like underused, and I'm like, okay, maybe she could have been used a little more, and then...
I feel like I understood her perfectly. She was a character that represented someone who like lived in America, but has all the genotypes that give her the privilege to kind of take up these like interesting roles, and also become a pawn of stuff, and be like the executioner, and like give this violence to like the baby that they literally shot 1,000 times.
Right.
And at the same time isn't like a bad person, but like if she's no stranger to sort of leveraging secrets and figuring out like how she can benefit from situations regardless of kind of what side. It just gave that like I can blend on either end, and like it would have been cool to see that through with like some sort of like her betrayal.
I was waiting for something.
But she just disappeared, so I don't know.
And then similarly with Stephen Yeun's character, he was like important, and then he was gone for most of the movie. And I
felt like he sufficed as just like backstory to why Mickey was there.
Yeah.
And I guess...
I mean, I got that, but
I don't...
It's Stephen Yeun, bro! Cast him in more shit! It was interesting, in the final act, we get the Captain of the Guard character introduced. He was kind of introduced throughout the film, but he didn't have any lines until like the end. And then, he's the one that kind of stages a little coup against the president and his wife and everything. And it was interesting, like, again, I just wish, like, we had a little more time with these characters. Like, it was a cool moment, I felt like. And again, it was one of those things where I'm like, maybe a little too close to home in not a good way, you know what I mean?
So that guy who was the guard, leader or whatever, and he asked the guy to turn on his glasses to like record all the atrocities that were happening and stuff.
Right.
I agree that like it was hitting too close to home, and I also felt like he was, because I didn't remember him being at any point in the movie besides like kind of that last.
He's kind of in the background of some scenes, but no real lines from what I like remember.
Yeah, so like his motivation to turn or whatever, or spy or collect this information like was unclear. But to me, it almost was like the most explicit way that the director was like voicing his own position on things. Like I felt like he was a representative of the director saying, these are the things to pay attention to, and like here comes like the big final like wrap. And it really kind of took me out, because then obviously I noticed, like, I was like, who is this character, and why all of a sudden like they're doing the right thing when like nothing's been going right this entire time.
Like what tipped it, you know what I mean? Yeah, I definitely had like a little issues there with like some of the side characters in a movie that was already, like I said, kind of long. Like I could see like how it's hard to like add a little more, but it would have been cool to get a little more character moments with those people. Or
I just felt like everyone was kind of like a pun of a joke.
Yeah, it was very like plot driven outside of Mickey, of just like, okay, we're introducing this character, there's going to be a little payoff afterwards. They're serving some sort of purpose of like, even if they're just like a dumb lackey, like, you know, like, which is why maybe I was drawn mostly to Mickey and to the animal species. Which I think,
and even that
because they're the only real characters that I feel like have an arc in the film. Trying to think back, like there's no other characters that I would say really like grow, and maybe it's not that kind of movie, because it's like actually, let me backtrack that. I also was a little confused with Mickey's arc, because I felt like we didn't get his arc until the end. We got like some passing comments, but it seemed like his main conundrum was like, am I human? And that's what Mickey 18 faced like right before he died. He sacrificed himself, and the president was like, you're scared, that means you're human. And he's like, yeah, and I think he kind of died with like that knowledge. And you know, the fact that the movie turns from Mickey 17 to Mickey Barnes at the end, you know, it's like him regaining his humanity. But I didn't really see him, and maybe you can correct me if I'm wrong, like him struggle with that throughout the film. Like, it didn't feel explicit.
To me, it was more like he began as someone who already felt expendable, so him taking on that role was okay, and then he went into like, I want to survive, and then the stakes just kept getting bigger of like, okay, now his memory is erased permanently, now there's this other version of himself, and him sort of I guess like battling with like, oh, this guy isn't so bad, and he is me, and like we share these like experiences, but also now we're starting to deviate because we're having different experiences too, and we share a love for someone, and like all these like things. But I agree that like he didn't really have that moment of like, I'm human. It was almost always centered around the person that he loved.
Yes.
Rather than like his appreciation for himself, or even that journey of like confronting his fears. I guess like the big red button that he presses at the end to like explode the machine. Something. Yeah, that was him. Like, that's why I think he was sort of behaving more in a childlike headspace than like 18, because like 18 was having like an advanced existential crisis, whereas 17 was confronting his guilt about thinking he killed his mom, which I'm sure affects like the decisions of every version of him that have come and gone. But you know, not to that degree. And they even have a conversation with each other where 18 was like, you know that wasn't your fault, right? Like that button had nothing to do with that. And so I think what struck me the most about 17's arc at the end and how it all wraps up was how he was saying that he felt guilty about his previous versions not getting this opportunity that he's also having to like experience life all the way.
I remember that.
And I guess if you would like translate that into like a real world like feeling or experience, it would be that experience of like kind of survivor's guilt of you know, seeing the world get better with all the people that like came before it that literally sacrificed their life to like give you the life that you have now, whether you know how to appreciate it or not. So I think for him, he's there in that part of the journey. And 18 was like, you know,
past it, right?
way over that, you know, and to the point of like, I don't want to be a martyr and I'm willing to kill people to like not see this continue. And so like two different approaches, but like still kind of the same conclusion of like, they are both human and experience fear and want to see life all the way through. And it's just like, which one is willing to kind of sacrifice what, I guess.
Right. No, I agree. And it was very interesting kind of seeing him find his arc along the way with the help of 18, who was further along and kind of acted as like his, obviously like his like another form of like internal consciousness or like an older brother or whatever. So it was kind of cool seeing that. I want to talk about the final scene, the little dream sequence where he runs into Toni Collette's character, and she's trying to like reclone the bad guy, Mark Ruffalo's character. I think that was him, because it lines up right as he's like about to push the big red button to blow up the cloning machine once and for all. And so I think it was a nice way to tie his arc that, even though I just said I feel like he didn't like have one for a while, like I agree, like at the end, like it came at the end, and I do agree, like even though those moments came kind of fast in that last act, it was a nice moment of him, like, because in that situation, you know, he's like, here's what I would have done, but then he's like, I think, what would 18 do? And like 18's also him, you know what I mean? So it's cool that he kind of like self-actualized and like was able to get past that fear of like pressing the button, and because he's like, it was a nice character growth moment, and I think Robert Pattinson played it really well, and like, you know, he did really well with the acting, and like maybe like he moved from being like a kid or like, you know, kidified version of him to a little more mature now, like not quite 18 obviously, but like a nice in between.
It was almost like the literal manifestation of being like 17 to 18. Like I feel like you go through so much, and then you have to like take up this position of like being an 18-year-old and thinking you know everything, and then realizing you're just scared and you're figuring it out. Maybe that's being like way blowing it out of proportion.
No, I mean I feel like that's valid, because I feel like I mean 17 and 18 are pivotal numbers, like especially with how they do act, as like one's more childish and one's more mature. So I think that's an interesting line to draw. But yeah, I really like that moment at the end, because it felt like a real manifestation of like visually of just like his character growth throughout the scene, because it's like we see 17 throughout the film, whenever he's like presented a chance to like do something, he like doesn't and like even 18 calls him out on it, you know, all the time, especially like talking about the dinner scene and everything. It was nice that 17 finally got a moment, even if it was just a dream.
I just feel like it was weirdly placed, or like that it shouldn't have manifested in the way that it did, because it like didn't make sense for the moment. Like it was supposed to be like celebratory, and also like this confrontation between like the thing he's most afraid of or regrets, which is having pressed the button when he was little, to like, here's a literally meaningless button that's just more like ceremonial than anything.
I think it had more meaning because of it was blowing up the thing. Machine. So that means whenever he died now, that was it, you know. He's fully back to being human, and I think the dream he had beforehand, he like self-actualized, and I think that was the moment where he was mature enough to be like,
I guess
back
it
to
was
being
just
him.
like, I didn't think that the action matched the thing that he was self-actualizing through.
Yeah, it was a little weird. I know what you're talking about. That was another like
tonal thing where it's like, okay, it's scary that they might be coming back, and we don't know if it's a dream or not. And also, this is like,
and also, is it a metaphor about like how cycles repeat and like all these things? That's what I was picking up. But then the narration kicked in. He was talking about it. I was like, okay, so I see what this is now. Yeah. But it was. Yeah, a little interesting, because I'm like, I don't know, because of the tonal shifts of the film, I was like, I don't know which way this is going right now, and especially by the end, I was like, not that I was lost or anything, but I was just like, I don't know which way they're gonna go with it. Like, was this literal? But I'm glad it was like a dream, and it was a nice moment for him, even though 17 directly didn't have like a hand in like stopping both of them. Like that was his moment to do it, even if it was like through a dream.
Yeah. Not that satisfying.
I thought so. I mean, like I said, for the arc that he was given. But yeah, did you have any like pressing topics about the film?
I think one last thing we can touch on is and this came to me as a spoiler from before like I watched the movie, was that people were saying like finally a black character that like has like a happy ending / like isn't like a sort of side moment to the main character and like really kind of gets like
I mean, she has her own agency.
So I just want to like shout out the movie for that, even though at times it felt like the quintessential like this is the one black person in the movie who's gonna like speak for the like inhumanity going on or whatever. Like even like during her speech, like I feel like it kind of like took me out a little because I was like we're propping up like a stereotypical character to like be the one to like voice the concerns of like all the people in a moment where like everything that they're saying and doing is like charged to like real life politics and stuff. But I guess like on a baseline level I'm appreciative that they like didn't have anything like happen to her in a negative way, or that she wasn't like an accessory to Mickey's like experience. No, I mean, if anything, I feel like they gave her so much that like Mickey almost like worshipped the ground that she walked on, which in some elements like I really appreciated, especially like the sexual chemistry or just like the love he has for her. Like I could tell that their relationship was built off nothing but like appreciation for each other, and I valued that it made him feel human the way that she treated him. That was made very clear.
No, I really enjoyed their relationship a lot, and they just always mutually supported each other, and you know, it was really touching. Like every time like they showed like him in like the chambers and everything, like she went in there and like was with him, and I thought that was really sweet and just shows their relationship. And
did you notice that in the scene where she goes into the chamber with him and she's holding him, that it's very much like the quintessential statue of like Virgin Mary holding
definitely
her son.
I mean like that's,
and it like just like I guess it kind of like blurred the line between like, do you love him because he's someone that like continues to get born again and like just I don't know, like, you know, I could tell that she like hurts every time it happens. But it also felt like like there was just like the weird like propping up of her, and I get it because like eventually she does turn to like be the leader of everyone and stuff, but I don't know, it just gave this like weird dynamic between them where it was almost like he was her pet, and especially once like they both came up and she was negotiating with the other girl of like, you know, I don't want to give you both, they're like half of the same and they're mine. It's just like,
no, I mean a lot of people talked about Mickey like that, so it was interesting, but I feel like their connection was like deeper, and I feel like it was shown through actions.
My problem is that he was kind of a loser and she was really cool, so it made it so that like it was always kind of him supporting her dreams and him not having any dreams.
I think I think it's literally shown in the fact that like there's like 2 montages where he like helps dress her and like sees her off and like waves all goofy and everything.
It just gives like assistant.
Yeah, I mean, I thought it was very endearing. I don't think she was ever like taking advantage of him or anything. I think she truly does love Mickey, and she never takes advantage of him and his like naivete or like anything like that.
Yeah, so she's very protective of him.
Very protective, and he's very, in his ways, protective of her, you know what I mean? And I feel like, I don't know, I didn't really get, like assistant vibes or anything like that. I just got, like, supportive, for sure, and, like, he might not have a lot going on, you know what I mean? But he's about one thing, and it's her, you know what I mean?
Yeah, he was giving, like, stay-at-home.
Yeah, and, like, you know, he's got his own stuff going on, but, I don't know. I felt like
yeah. I mean, I think that was just like more a reflection of like even mentally. I feel like once 18 came into the picture, like she aligned more with him, just like on a level
like a more mature level.
Yeah, more maturity and like.
Well, they were like high half the time.
Yeah, that's fair. But I feel like they shared in this like anger and like wanting to do something about the situation that they're in, and then teaming up to like protect 17 rather than feeling like 17 was like a part of this like triage to like, take down what's happening, or even using his like naivety as like a something that like balances you from doing the wrong thing. Like 17 couldn't even stop her from like using the whatchamacallit, like taser? The saw from killing his friend. Like it was just this like it's debilitating the way he was so I don't even know.
Damn. Damn, he's a loser, I guess. He's a lovable loser, admitted. Like he's an admitted lovable loser.
And like I appreciated the relationship. I appreciated that like they never like said I love you, but I think they showed it through the way that they showed up for each other.
And the fact that like he was always looking for her whenever he was gone, even much to maybe his character's detriment, like arc wise. Mm-hmm. But I think through that and his relationship with 18, he was able to like work through some stuff.
Yeah, but I think it was just like heavily assisted by her. And I don't know. I valued that she had like her own thing going, but she wasn't the main character.
I mean, yeah, totally. She, in spite of everything, Mickey did, she still moved on and moved up, and he was there to support every single step of the way, which was pretty cool.
Mm-hmm. So that was the only other thing I had on.
All right, that was pretty good, but okay, let's do a quick little talk about how. All right, directed by Bong Joon-ho, critically acclaimed. We know him, we love him. We all saw Parasite a couple of years ago. Mm-hmm. How do you feel of this movie as his follow-up to Parasite? Obviously, like, I think coming off of any win like that, that just swept the Oscars and everything, it's going to be hard to follow up a movie like Parasite, but as a whole, I thought it was good. I thought it was really good.
Yeah, I mean, to like completely change genres, basically, but still share in those like lovable elements of like capitalism. I mean,
it felt like an amalgamation
thing,
of
something that still, is grounded by his specific experience.
No, it's ironic because like in this way, this movie's kind of going back to his roots of like Snowpiercer. A lot of his other movies have, commentary embedded within genre. So, Leo. So, it was pretty cool to see him go back to that. Because, I mean, I'm a big sci-fi nerd, so I always love to see sci-fi. So, anytime I can see it on the big screen, like, this was, like, a great chance. The visuals were amazing. Cinematography. Dude, the fucking like inclusion of the double Mickeys like was so seamless, and like they were like touching each other all the time, pushing each other. I'm like, dude, like, and Robert Pattinson's performance, it really just felt like two different characters in the same scene, and it was really, really cool to see that kind of VFX work and everything. And so like I don't know how they did it.
They've come a long way from Parent Trap.
They've come a long way where it's like they're all like on one half of the screen and one half on the other, and now they're all like this and like touching and like that. Like it's crazy. But,
they didn't kiss, but I wanted them to.
They were close. It was getting there. But
18 thought about it.
Yeah, he's a freak, bro. No, but so I think coming off of Parasite, in a parallel world where things might have gone right in November, this would have been the perfect movie. Unfortunately, I just think the timing is just not right. So maybe
more time wouldn't have helped. So
yeah, more time wouldn't have helped. So I think
it just needed to come out when it was supposed to come out.
Yeah,
and this is a lesson to studios.
Like a year or something, right?
Yeah.
Like so. Yeah, they should have.
Maybe this would have been the thing that changed.
Yeah.
No.
Maybe.
But like.
Yeah. So I feel like it'll age and maybe become a little bit more of a cult classic that'll be discovered. If things go on the right track, and maybe 10 to 20 years, it'll be looked fondly upon. It'll be like, oh my god, remember that? Like, so maybe our kids will like it.
If we have kids, if I have a right to my own body by the time.
Right. No, but overall, I did enjoy it. I did have some faults with it. But overall, I would give it a solid 4 out of 5. So
wait, we're doing out of 10.
Out of 10? Okay, so double it. So 8 out of 10.
Okay. I would give it like a 7. It wasn't bad, but it did feel really long, and I don't know. I think I just like wasn't in the headspace to experience it.
Yeah, it has its issues, I feel like, with just like its pacing and tonal shifts and things like that. But overall, I mean, it was still a like fun and enjoyable like watch, and I might not revisit it a lot, but I would definitely watch it again for this like Robert Pattinson's performance, and like I think it's a cool movie overall, and like definitely a great addition into Bong Joon-ho's filmography. I feel like I said, it would have been a great palate cleanser after Parasite, and with also still some biting commentary. But we'll see how this ages. I'm very curious how it'll go, you know, just in the lexicon of political films, you know. Maybe it'll be like a Don't Look Up type scenario where it's just like I
don't even remember that movie very well.
Well, it was very like it was praised a lot when it came out, but you know, it was just one of those ones that was like, again, it was like so true, like it hurts. And like sometimes now people look back and be like I don't even want to get into it, but it's just it's a lot, man. It's a lot. But yeah, I do recommend this mostly because we need to fill Bong Joon-ho's next project budget, please.
Yeah, I think it was like totally like watchable and like watch it.
Not bad by any means. A great time at the movies. I feel like you know, just a little bit of some issues here and there, but
yeah, I think mostly my hiccup with it is like I didn't enjoy it because it felt like speaking into an echo chamber, and I feel like people are especially sensitive to that right now, where it's just like, where did that get us ever? So
yeah, we're a little jaded because it's the second time around. So yeah, but yeah, that's all the notes I had on this one. Did you have any last final closing remarks?
I'm excited to see like what else Robert Pattinson does, and I also really like the actress that played, what's her name?
Oh my god, I gotta look it up. But she was great in
Nasha?
Blink. Yeah, Nasha. Blink Twice.
Yes, she's
on
great
the
in
up
Blink
and up,
Twice.
man. We bought stock.
Yeah.
Yeah. You'll be thinking about that clone scene for a while, I guess.
Yeah, mostly, happy for her. Glad that she got to do that with Robert Pattinson.
I guess twice each time, right? So that's crazy. That's crazy.
Pretty crazy.
But yeah, no, overall, I enjoyed it.
Yeah, it was good. I would say overall it was like a light watch in that like it's not too demanding, like emotionally or anything, and it's mostly
very
funny,
casual.
So, yeah, I would say go watch it.
Yeah.
And obviously, if you're watching this, I hope you already watched it because we said too much.
Yeah, but also it was good. So.
And if you did watch it, like, tell us what you thought in the comments.
Drop it in the comments.
Who you agreed with,
like
who you
subscribe.
disagreed with.
Yeah.
You know.
That whole shebang. But yeah, thanks for tuning into another episode of the Everything Bagel Cupholder Critique Edition.
I came up with that. I came up with every name.
I came up with Cupholder part, the Cupholder part. I won't say critique. Wait a second. Yes, I did. I came up with Archive Dive. Lily came up with Archive Dive, which admittedly is better, but I had the foundation of Archive Dive there.
Okay, so I at least get Stay at Home Plus.
You get Stay at Home Plus. I think that's a great name, and you get 100% of that.
And I will say that one was like arrived on first try. Everything else needed like 7 freaking renditions. Like we were really stuck on this one, particularly because it's like what?
Well, you didn't like alliterations for the longest time, and then I got you. But anyway, Cupholder Critique. We hope to be going to the movies more often. I believe our next one is Novocaine that we'll be doing an episode on. Mm-hmm. So looking forward to that. Another fun movie. So
and then we're gonna be watching No Other Land.
No Other Land, yeah, we could do a little
mini one on that. And between those, there will be some at-home ones, and we just did a cave dive. Yeah, so
we're stacking up. My editing bay is full, bro. I don't know how. I
don't think I have enough SD cards. Yeah, I'm a photographer.
I don't know how to pump these out quick like this. So, yeah, thanks for tuning in, and we'll catch you at the next one.
Peace. Drive safe.